Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community, and neighborhoods. And now, from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, we have many guests today, and we have a show in 2 parts. We're going to be speaking with Sandhills Classical Christian School. Gene Lichty is here. He's the Director of Advancement. And Andrew Morton is the Associate Dean of the Upper School. And Gene has been on the show recently. We've always had some of the parents come on with him. And every time he has come on, and Gene, I've said this to you, we need to bring some students on. Well, you delivered.
That's right. Today we did.
You've got 3 seniors.
We do. Yeah, Nathan and Knox and Ellie are here with us in studio today, and we're pretty excited about that.
Well, you guys are seniors, and you're on the cusp of transitionalizing to college. It's an exciting time, and we're going to be asking you about some of your reflections about your experience at Sandhills Classical Christian and your future plans. And I think all of you have been there for many years, except I believe you've been there in Oxford 3 years?
Yes.
Okay. Andrew, this is your first time on the show. You came here from Charlotte.
I did.
How long have you been with the school?
So my wife and 2 kiddos, William and Claire.
Yeah.
We moved here to the Sandhills area in June.
Oh, wow.
So we've only been here a few months.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in our business, in the real estate business, we meet a lot of young families who are moving into the area, and as much as they are looking maybe for a home, they are also asking us a lot of questions about schools. Sandhills Classical Christian has been going through a growth phase that's been unprecedented in the last 4 years, Gene.
That's right. We have more than doubled our enrollment in the last 4 years, and the dirt's flying again. We have 2 building projects underway. We have a large quad that'll connect 3 existing buildings, and then we're breaking ground next month on a K-2 building that'll hold about 170 students, so we can expand into some of the upper grades and create more room in our existing K-5 and then 6 to 12. So, yeah, the whole county's growing. We can't even accommodate the demand. Even growing the way we are,
What
it's
do you
impossible.
What do you attribute? What are the most important things that you attribute the growth to?
Well, I think first and foremost, and Andrew can speak to this, but the quality of the education we provide,
Right.
combined with the facilities that we've been able to onboard in the last couple of years. So, both athletics and the arts, people who have children in grades 6 to 12, students in grades 6 to 12. Are looking for a full orbs sort of an education, and we can now provide that on our 60-acre campus. So we're pretty excited. We're very optimistic about the future of the school and what we're able to do in the lives of students. And we've also just brought on 2 more administrators because of that growth that we're experiencing. So we brought on Andrew, the Associate Dean of the Upper School,
Right.
and then Elizabeth Griffin is the Associate Dean of the lower school.
It's like a mini university. I remember when Sandhills Classical Christian was down on Pennsylvania Avenue, and and since Ellie, since you've been there since 11 years,
Yes, sir.
I remember walking in there often because I had some friends who either taught there or worked there. Lots has changed in the 11 years.
Quite a bit has changed.
That's right. You're graduating from a school that didn't even exist when you were in elementary and even in middle school.
I was at SCCS when the first graduating class graduated, and it was such a big deal. And now here we are, almost 6 years in, more.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, but yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I want to get to you guys, but I do want to ask Andrew you a question. you came from Charlotte. Were you in a private school over there?
I was a lovely little private Christian classical school called Covenant Classical. I was a teacher and administrator there for about 8 years.
Okay, so what motivated you what was the impetus in making this transition for your family?
Sure, yeah, I would divide it up really into two things: career, and then looking for a change in lifestyle. I mean, Charlotte is a exploding community. I mean, when I bought our house in Charlotte, I was surrounded by trees, and now it's surrounded by apartments.
Being in Charlotte is like living in a NutriBullet, one of those.
Oh, it is.
Absolutely. Food processors, and you go home at night and you're shaking. It's just so ramped up.
I've had to relearn how to drive.
Right.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. The pace of life here is slower. We love the country living. We're in between two picket farms. I just had a hay bale delivered to my yard, a round bale for $40, and it came on the back of a pickup truck. And that's just not something you're going to experience living by the Speedway, which is where we used to live. So from a family standpoint, we were looking for a change, more, I guess if you could call it country living.
Yeah.
I wanted space for my kiddos to be able to run and play.
How old are your children?
So William is 5, about turned 6, and Claire's just turned 8.
Okay, and they are both enrolled at the school.
They are. William is in pre-K, and then Claire is in the 2nd grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. And I know you have an event, Gene, next Wednesday, the 25th, you want to talk about too.
That's right. We have our annual kindergarten coffee. So every October, we host this event and usually have 50 to 70 families represented at this event. And pretty excited. It gives them an opportunity to tour the campus, to meet some of the administrators. We introduce them to the kindergarten teachers. They get to tour those classrooms. And so just get a better idea of who we are.
Are these prospective students, the parents of prospective students that are coming to the school or are already in the school?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
50% of the folks will already be in our preschool, but have never maybe visited our campus.
Okay.
And then 50% of the folks that show up are people in the community who've heard about us, but haven't really experienced us in any real way. So typically by the middle of January, we'll have 60 or 70 applications for the 54 seats that we have at the school for kindergarten. And so we like to sort of get all that lined up, and then we start interviewing families, and that's how it rolls.
Okay. Ellie, I'm going to start with ladies first.
Yes, sir.
You've been at Sandhills Classical Christian for 11 years?
I believe so. I've been here since kindergarten, and here I am in my senior year, but I did take 1 year off in 8th grade when I wanted to try public school.
How'd that go?
Well,
you
unfortunately for me, that was the 2019-2020 year.
Oh,
so
COVID.
not only did I not really love the educational experience, I then also had to deal with COVID.
Okay. You're going to be a graduating senior,
Yes,
moving on to college.
Mm-hmm.
As you reflect back on all those years at the school, what do you take with you?
That's such a broad question.
It is a broad question.
Definitely.
What do you most appreciate?
Just the really education that I've received. I've been taught how to speak properly. I've been taught how to write a real essay. I've been taught how to write a thesis. I have an education that I have plenty of schools in public school. I have plenty of friends in public school, but some things that I know, they don't know on the level that I'm able to talk about. And it's just impressive when I'm able to speak in a way or think in a way that impresses someone else.
Why is that? Why the difference? That you know but they don't? Is it that the teachers get in your face and they stay there, and is it the discipline? Because my observation about the students at the school has always been, it doesn't matter what age, their verbal skills, their eye contact, their ability to stand tall, and I guess the underlying common denominator is the discipline that they have, both in their studies. That's been my observation over the years.
Yes, sir. It's definitely it's not like disciplined in the way that it's difficult. It's
Right.
disciplined in the way that these are manners that you should have. There's a respect that you have as a student for your teacher. There's a respect that you have for your peers when someone else is talking. You're not trying to talk over them all the time. You're letting them put into their info while listening to your own. It's a respect thing, and it's very important, and that's something that I missed when I was in public school.
Right.
There were just people talking all the time.
Right.
I could barely hear my lessons. And I think I told my mom that, and she agreed with me. She was like, "You haven't brought home homework ever."
Wow.
Because there wasn't, in public school, they taught you to pass the test. At SCCS, they teach you to make you a better person.
And critical thinking, how to think, how to solve problems. Boy, it's a good thing you didn't know me when I was a senior in high school. You and I would have nothing in common. I was the antithesis of you. I mean, my parents were so relieved that I graduated. And I think they still tried to get me into an orphanage. I mean, they
goodness.
just, please. I was undisciplined. I would try to hide out. Can you hide out at school?
To get out of class?
Just no, while you're in class, to hide out,
no.
to just bury your head and hope they don't call on you.
No, the biggest class size that I have ever personally been in was 18 kids, and that was in our 6th grade. So our senior class this year, our graduating senior class, is 7 people.
Wow. And 18, what is the normal size of the classes?
I don't know anymore, Mr. Lichty.
Yeah, we build for 18. So we're 18 per class, 9th grade all the way down.
Okay.
And the preschool's full as well.
Okay.
But those are upper classes in the rhetoric school or the high school.
Yep.
Those are fewer in number currently.
Okay.
Like, my brother is a freshman, and I think there are over 30 kids in his grade. And when I was a freshman, there were 8 of us, so it's so drastic how different it can be.
You speak like an old soul, without question. Knox, I wanted to say good morning and thanks for coming. You've been there for 3 years.
Yes, sir.
And before that,
I was homeschooled for, I think, around 8 years.
okay.
I was with classical conversations.
Yep.
And then I came in to SCCS in the 10th grade.
Okay. What was the impetus for your parents or for you to make that transition?
Just more socialization because
Right.
being homeschooled, we also lived a good ways away from everybody. So it was just a little bit harder to make friends. But then coming here, there may not be too much people, but there's enough to get a good group of friends.
Yeah. Do you play sports?
Yes, sir. I'm playing football this year, which is another great upside to this school because you can get on a lot of teams.
Right.
There's no real tryouts so far, and so
You can
you
participate.
can participate wherever, in whatever sport you like.
So by judging your frame, I'm going to say you're an offensive, not a defensive player.
Yeah, yes, I'm playing receiver for the team.
Okay, that's what I figured. I think the gentleman sitting next to you could be a defensive player. just
If
to
he hadn't
guess.
broken his arm, yes.
I'm full of injuries. That's all. I'm just out for the season.
Are you on the football team too?
No, sadly, I was about to go for it, and I had a failed surgery happen, so I was like, oh no, on my bank card, so my shoulder. I was like, I can't do this.
Okay.
But I played multiple sports, so it was good.
You have plans for college?
Yes, sir. I'm applying to a couple of schools. UNC's one of them.
Great.
And
Great.
then I'll hope to study business and graduate then.
What do you take away from your education the last 3 years? What are the most important things that you take with you? Because the impressions that you received at this school will stay with you all your life. You'll remember high school. Doesn't matter. I remember my high school like it was yesterday. It wasn't yesterday. What do you take with you?
I think just this school it really gives you a desire to learn with just the way they teach and engage the classes. And so now even in the subjects that maybe I've found different subjects that interest me, and I want to continue to study those and learn about those even after I'm graduated, and just as like hobbies, just keep studying.
When your first year you were there, did you have the confidence, or did that grow through the course of the 3 years? Confidence in yourself, your self-esteem?
I think it grew, yes.
You think it
Yes,
grew?
sir.
Yeah. So now you can walk the halls like you're the landlord, right? Not just a tenant. And the friendships that you've made in the 3 years, those are also friendships that you'll keep, because all of your classmates will be going to college as well, but you'll be coming home and keeping in touch with them as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm going to switch gears and just go right down the table to Nathan.
Alrighty.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you didn't play football,
Nope. No, sir.
but you've been at the school for how many years?
Wow. 14-ish years from preschool and then kindergarten all the way up to this year, senior year.
So you and Ellie, I mean, you
We've been-
guys,
We've been together since
wow.
half day kindergarten.
You might as well, I mean, you just get married.
No.
I mean,
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
not going to happen. Okay.
No, sir.
I'll stay friends with him. That's it, though.
That's
All.
okay.
That's all.
That's all.
So you remember the school on Pennsylvania Avenue?
Yes, in multiple locations, but
That's
I
right.
do.
That's right. What is your field of interest as you're going to go to college?
Medicine. That's something I've become more interested recently, just with how I've had to deal with it. And so medicine, I mean like surgeries and whatnot. And so I've had that at a pretty young age, especially with my shoulder. That's something that would typically be with elderly people. But
Tell me about your shoulder.
I dislocated it like 12-ish times now.
12 times?
I tore up a bunch of stuff in
Is
there.
that what you said? 12 times?
Yes. So, I mean, hey, I can function pretty well, and I'm going for another surgery, so get back in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have probably, oh my gosh, you've been there almost from the beginning.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what stands out to you about your education.
Well, I would say people
Uh-huh.
in both the coming and going, and how that's affected me. I mean by that, 14 years, especially with younger people or children, and being there, you don't always have the same people. And you have friends that come and you have friends that go. And there's a way to adapt to that. There's a way that, I mean, there's just loss in there. You can be sad. Like, I can't just go play with my friends outside that I knew since third grade. But at the same time, I'm able to adapt. I'm able to meet new people. And I don't want to be, oh, no, I have a smaller class, but that's fine. I love these people, and they're like family. And I like to meet new people. In previous experiences, just going off to visit college campuses, I don't feel completely stupid, and I don't feel like, oh no, I need to be alone. I feel like, oh, I can go out there. I don't have to know their background, but I can get to know them, and
Yeah.
we can be friends regardless. So,
You speak with a lot of confidence.
thank you.
I mean, a soft confidence. You don't have to blare it out. It's just there, in between the lines. And I guess people in interviews will pick that up about you. Tell me about the grading system. Are you working towards grades? Are you working just to get high numbers for admission, or are you working to learn?
Well, I've been all over the grade system, having been there a while.
Okay.
I've had some not so proud grades, but that's definitely not something that's kept me down.
Okay.
I'll be completely honest. I've had a 50 or two in the past 4 years.
You've had a what?
A 50 out of 100, which it's very sad, but it's humbling, and it keeps you there. I feel like I could bounce back from that, and I did. I've gotten the numbers that I wanted to achieve, but that was not my goal. grades weren't always just, oh, this is a number, I have to reach the mark, I have to get there. It's more so, I mean, you get pressure from your parents, but wow, this attributes to what I can do, how I can do it. And grades, really, if you participate, if you're there in the classroom with the teacher, you're
Right.
having that conversation almost like we're having now,
Right.
then grades are going to happen, and they're going to happen well.
Okay. All three of you came in here better prepared to speak in this format than I ever did when I started the show in August of '09. I have to tell you, I'm a little envious. I was cottonmouth, as I was telling you before we started. You guys are all so well spoken. They seem like old souls through and through. Got to be proud.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Coming up, we have to wind down in a minute, but I'm so glad you guys came in. You have upcoming events beyond the kindergarten coffee going into next year, because you're still in a growth mode with a trajectory that is like straight up in the air.
Sure. Yeah, we have Ben Carson coming to
Yep.
our campus on February 7th. And we have Keith McCurdy coming in January. I believe it's January 25th. Keith speaks to families, to students all around the country, talking about a host of things. One of them, especially pertinent today, is technology, how
Yep.
to use it. It can be a friend. It can also be a stumbling block.
Yep.
So he's going to be talking specifically about that. But we love to bring people in. We have an institute where we just talk a little more deeply about life and living and what true living really is. And so we'll have 4 people in this year. We have Rosaria Butterfield. She speaks nationally. She's here a week from Friday. So we're continuing a conversation
Yeah.
just about, truth, beauty, goodness,
Yep.
what those things are, how they're biblically defined. We're a Christian school,
Right.
classical and Christian school.
Right.
So we're interested in a certain kind of community and talking about certain types of things.
If people want to go to your website, it's sandhillsccs.org.
That's right, sandhillsccs.org.
Right.
And there's a pop-up on there right now that talks about our kindergarten coffee.
Okay.
So if you're interested in being a part of our school,
Right.
we highly recommend that you join us in kindergarten. Retention is 97%, or it was this last year, K to
Right.
12.
Right.
So we lost very few people, which means very few seats open up.
Right.
And we're adding 1 class per grade. But again, it doesn't begin to meet the demand. But next Wednesday, the 25th,
Yep.
at 4 p.m.
Right.
at our school. We'd love to see you there.
Thank you, Andrew. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, Bill.
Gene, thank you. Guys, you were great. I'm so glad you came in, and you're probably so glad this is over.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to come back in the second set. This is All Things Moore County. Welcome back to All Things Moore County, our second set. We have a different cast of characters at the table as we're shifting gears. To my left is Kaitlyn Wood. Dorothy, was her show last year one of the most memorable that we did during the whole year?
I think it was.
The answer is yes, right?
Yes.
Kaitlyn Wood is a junior now at Union Pines.
Yes, sir.
One of the most impressive young ladies we've ever had on the show. She was Miss Teen Moore County AG, and just recently you are now Miss Moore County
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
AG.
Yep.
Did you know that you were going to continue
Yes,
down
sir.
that path? You did.
Yes, sir. I did.
Okay. We were originally going to have Kaitlyn on, but because of all your connections and your open heart, you've put yourself in a position where you've exposed yourself to lots of different nonprofit organizations.
Yes, sir.
And you want to tell me a little bit about the gentleman sitting to your left? I'll let you introduce him.
Okay. This is Cliff Brown. He is the director of Team Workz, which is a homeless organization located here in Moore County, downtown Southern Pines area. And he just wants to empower people and help them in all the ways that he can. He's constantly giving to our community, giving back. He sits right here beside us today, and he's just, all around amazing.
How'd you meet him?
I met him through Cliff Brown. Was it Cliff Brown? No, it was Michael Brown. Yeah, Michael Brown. No, Michael. Oh wait, goodness, I actually forgot who it was.
Okay.
It was it was Michael Cotton actually for the food bank.
For the
Yes.
food bank.
Okay. Yes, that's what it was. I knew it was something.
He's been on the show.
Yes, he would. We actually met through him as well. I'm pretty sure, but he just introduced me through my food drive that I was doing through him, and he was telling me about Cliff Brown and how he may, how he owns a, nonprofit and his empowerment and movement to our community. And he, kind of gave me his contact information. And then a little after that, I connected myself towards him, and then I just started volunteering with him.
So you're working in the role of service-oriented towards many different organizations as a result of your tenure as Miss Teen Moore County AG.
Yes, sir.
And it fits you like a glove, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's
There you go.
it's very, very I'm very proud of myself. It wasn't anything that I would ever expect, but 2 years in a row, that's really great. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without my family and God for sure. But they all keep me on my toes, but they keep me, humble and sustained. So
What are your responsibilities going forward with your new title? Are you seeking out different organizations to help? Are they reaching out to you? How does that work?
yeah, so I am actually seeking out for organizations to help out nonprofit and even, small businesses of our community, as well as volunteer work. I'm always looking for volunteer work. I've actually, tried to promote myself and, being able to help out and for some volunteers and some organizations, but a lot of people actually won't, respond back, or it's hard to, link with them sometimes, like email me back and stuff like that. So it is sometimes hard, but I do have those handful of nonprofit organizations and stuff that I've been able to volunteer work and partner with.
My guess is you've learned at a very young age that you don't listen to what people say, but you watch what they do.
Yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah.
And as a junior in high school, your perspective on people that are adults, you may find, wait a minute, I wouldn't do that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's not about the words; it's about walking the walk and not talking the talk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Cliff, I want to say hi, and I know that you and I have spoken, and you're going to come back in a few weeks, and we're going to do an in-depth show on Team Workz. I've heard a lot about you from people that I know, one or two in particular who had suggested that we get you on the show, and then in speaking with Kaitlyn, your name came up again. And so part of that, I think, is serendipitous. And so I want you to come back, but I want you to tell me how you hooked up with Kaitlyn and what your impressions are of her. And because I already want to clone her, and I think you may want to clone her. Maybe we'll make 100 of her. I don't
That's
know.
not enough.
It's not enough, right?
No.
But tell me the story.
Well, Kaitlyn came to our headquarters, our Blessing Tree store, where we give away clothes and hygiene and food, and she introduced herself and was telling me she had heard about Team Workz through Michael Cotton.
Yep.
And Mike and I worked together in the prison system. So I've known Mike for quite a while. He was my assistant superintendent at Hope Correction at the time. And then in 2019, I contacted him. I hadn't seen him in probably 10 years, and I contacted Mike to tell him about our organization, and we were doing a homeless resource fair, and asked him if they would like to participate. And at that time, he said, it's funny, because when you called, I was talking to the head of the food bank for North Carolina and mentioned your name and what you were doing. And so he's been a strong supporter, and he told Kaitlyn about us. So when Kaitlyn came in to headquarters and introduced herself, I was amazed at just the overall of her personality, her vigor to help, her being involved and bringing fresh ideas and everything. She's helped us with our Christmas event last year. She's been doing food drives and clothes drives and different things for us. She helped get toys together last year. She's a whirlwind.
Yeah.
And I'm just impressed with her being as young as she is right now.
Right.
And I'll share this real quick story. She called me one day to talk about something we were doing. And we were talking a while, and she said, I've got to get back to work. I'm out here in the field on the tractor right now, and I had to cut it off so I could talk to you.
Right.
And there's not many young ladies that will be out working like that and feeding cows and doing the things she does.
Nope, I agree with you. When we had her on the show last year, Dorothy will vouch for me. It truly was one of the most enjoyable, memorable shows that we did, just because we're not used to students your age that have this servant's heart, this old world ethic that is so rare, right? At how old are you?
17 now. Yeah, last year I was 16, so.
She's the type of young lady you want to figure out ways to help.
Absolutely.
And do for. And that's a gift. And that is a gift.
Yes, sir.
And if people get enrolled in you, that puts you in a position of being either a conduit or a leader, or an influencer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we don't have to say leader, but you're comfortable in that role.
Yes, sir, I am.
Because you're confident now.
Yes, sir.
Well, I feel like you're here because I know her, and this just sort of worked out great, and I want to get a chance to know you. So, Cliff, tell me, Team Workz has been around for how long?
I started Team Workz in February the 20th. It was officially named February the 20th, 2019.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so we had been meeting before that. And our first meeting was February the 5th at a small church that was really, I think it held 45 people. And I was looking for 8 people to show up to talk to about starting something to help people. Because as you know, there's no homeless in Moore County. There's none, not any. Nobody wants to admit they're here. So the ostrich people, as I call them, with a head in the sand, will tell you there's no homeless here. Well, I was already working with them for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I see them out there, and I call them the secret society.
Yeah.
Because they're around you. They're in the grocery lines. They're in the restaurants behind you, and they're just not able to do the things that they want to do.
Right.
So I got together with some people, and there was like 16 people showed up. So we met again the next week, February the 12th, and we were expecting 20 people. We had 54 people show up. We had the sheriff and the chief of police from Pine Bluff and a bunch of agencies, and we just had a great turnout. So everybody was like, yeah, we need to do this. So I read them a 3-page manifesto of what my vision of Team Workz would be. And it was a vision from God that gave me this vision to do the Transitional Advancement Center that you have a copy of. Mm-hmm. And this is what I saw 3 times, and that's the motivation behind doing this, is when God showed me this vision at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 different times, I said, we got to do this. So I said, okay, how are we going to do this? And he just said, follow the path. So for 5 years, I've been following the path, and we keep growing every time. And even during COVID, when everybody quit, there's nobody out there working, I was still taking food and clothes, hygiene out to the camp. And what's amazing is, while everybody else was talking about getting sick, not one of the people I helped were sick. Not one. And everybody said, it's because of isolation. No, there's a camp with 12, 15, 20 people in it. And they're not sick. They just didn't get sick. And we worked to take care of them and make sure they had fresh water, food to eat, because restaurants were closed. They couldn't get anything.
Right.
So I was out there with them all the time, out in the woods with them. And now we're working not only with them, but we have probably 15 to 20 women with children from 1 to 6 kids living in vehicles or on the street or couch surfing that are looking for places. We work with human trafficking groups. You name it, we reach out on and work with different organizations.
You know, Southern Moore County is regarded by many as a moneyed county.
Oh, yeah.
And even different from the northern part of the county. In my travels, I see homeless people on the street. One day, I was at my office, and it was about 6 o'clock. I was leaving in the evening, and I looked at my back door, and there was a homeless person with a cart and possessions, and she was camping out right under the cover of my office, and it was in a cold season month. And she had a lot of things in this cart. These were her possessions. And she found a place underneath the, I don't know what you call it, but the covering. I came back the next morning. She was gone, but her basket was still there. Perhaps she was going out to get some food. I'm not sure, and was returning, but she disappeared after about 2 days. And it just made me take a deep breath, because we live in a county of plenty, but there are more people that are up against it than ever before. And some people don't like to talk about it, right? They like to look the other way.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, you know, it's hard to enjoy things sometimes when you can see a reality in front of you that you can't avoid. And then it propels you to want to do something to help. But sometimes out of sight, out of mind. And that's a challenge you probably face.
A lot of people tell me, I speak to a lot of organizations and groups. I'm already booked out through February to meet with groups and speak.
Right.
And some of the groups will say, well, these people are out there because they want to be. That's not true.
Right.
I don't have anybody that want to be out there.
Ignorant comment.
I've got a lot of them that are asking me, how can you help me get out of this? I just want a chance at life again.
Yep.
It was medical bills. It was economy, loss of jobs, COVID. I'm seeing all these people, and you deal with a lot of mental illness out there. There's a lot of that. And yes, there's some drug and alcohol problems, but not everybody.
Right.
You can't classify homeless as druggies and alkies. You can't do that. There's problems, yes. They get depressed and they turn to it. And I help them get into treatment programs and work with them to get into different ones. But you were talking about that lady disappearing. I've actually had 2 young ladies in their 20s, maybe early 30s, that vanished. One was to meet me the next day to get clothes from the storage unit, and she never showed up. No one's seen her again. Her stuff was still at their camp. And about 6 months later, another one disappeared, and her boyfriend said that she was on the way to get cigarettes and never came back. And a couple weeks later, I kept asking around, and somebody said, well, I saw her get in a white van. Well, that's 2 disappeared like that. So Kim Nixon with Changing Destinies that has the human trafficking.
Yes.
Kim and I have been working together since Veterans Day in 2019 when I did the first Homeless Resource Fair. And we've partnered up to help get some of these women into programs where they can be safe. And one of the things that we're trying to do now is, and keying on specifically, are the homeless veterans. We have a number of homeless veterans here. They don't like to admit their situation, but they're dealing with PTSD. Some of them have families with them. Mm-hmm. It's just it's bad when you're dealing with some of these guys that have been to war several times, and they come in and they have physical issues. They've got the mental issues. They're just looking for a chance to get help.
Yes.
And it's not there. And until we build this transitional advancement center that you have plans of right there, until we build this, There's nowhere for these people to go. There is no housing in Moore County. And the cost of housing here is outrageous.
Outrageous.
And even people that are working,
Yep.
making a fair wage,
Yep.
can't afford to live here.
That's right.
And I got 2 phone calls yesterday. Can you help me pay my light bill? My lights got cut off. Well, we don't pay light bills. We don't have that kind of money. We do provide clothes, food, and hygiene. And occasionally a hotel room if the circumstances are there and they qualify. But it's we do a whole lot of other things, but it's by donations. So right now we don't get any large donations from anyone, but we do have some corporate sponsors that sent items. Earth Breeze Laundry Detergent has sent cases of laundry detergent. I just recently Bombas socks.
Yep.
A lot of people know what Bombas is.
Yep.
You know, it's like 6 pair for $108. They're sent 3,000 pair of socks. It took me 2 years to get them to do it, but and then we've got Dr. Squash men's deodorant soap sent soap. So we're getting in touch with some of the corporations to help get supplies out to people that need them.
Tell me how you get funded.
Donations.
Strictly donations.
Yeah, right now it's strictly donations. We've got a small grant that we're waiting on. Hopefully the committee will approve it, but we've had some small, anywhere from $500 to $1,000 donations from different people, things like that. We're looking for some big money to come in and help build this. We actually need about $27 million to get land and build the Transitional Advancement Center because it's going to cover 35 acres. And it's not a shelter. The Transitional Advancement Center is where someone will be able to come in. They get educated if they want to go to a training program like labor skills, or if Kaitlyn was to come to us and she's able to get into the program, it's like a college where she could learn to be a hairstylist, a chef, a massage therapist, anything the college offers out here.
Right.
We're going to work with the college to provide that education. And meanwhile, we're giving them housing, food, medical, all the treatment programs, and the veterans will have their own compound where they can receive treatment. The veteran side of it is designed so that they can have therapeutic treatment. And I'm working with a pastor that is a lieutenant colonel in the reserves teaching PTSD workshops around the country. He's helping design this. So there's a lot of talent involved. We just need the money and resources.
What role do you have in mind for Kaitlyn? I'd love to know. I mean, other than she would be a spokesperson, she would be a conduit reaching out to the public.
That's exactly one of the things I had talked to her about. I can't remember if it was last year or when. I know in the past I've told her that she would be a great asset, especially to us, with her PR presence and her personality. She could help expand our program just in the PR division of it.
Right.
But her resource connections, she has been able to go out and get toys and clothes and things. I mean, she goes out and asks for stuff, and they give it to her.
Oh yeah.
And that's something that is hard to get.
I can see that.
I mean, we get people will laugh at me and they'll say, "Oh, you can't get $200 to pay for this thing or that thing." But you know what? We just collected $35,000 to build a fence around a dog lot, so the dogs can run. And I'm going, why don't we help people? Well, people made a choice. That's not true. We have to wake up and realize that the ostrich people that have their head in the sand are just ignoring the problem. If it doesn't have to do with golf or horses or animals, people just don't want to give. And it doesn't make sense because I've got a lot of families. If they would spend a day with me and see the people that I deal with and hear them crying that I was their last resource because everybody else told them to call Cliff Brown at Team Workz and they could get ABC.
Yeah.
And when I can't provide them a house, a car, and a job, and I tell them I'm not Oprah, I can't do all these things. So we're working toward it, and we coordinate with other resource groups to make sure that they get their resources too. But trying to deal with everybody's issues has really mushroomed into, it's like a never-ending story.
Yeah.
There's something new coming along all the time.
Yeah. We participate each year in the Christmas for More program where we adopt a family, and we wind up giving them gift cards to Kohl's or to Walmart.
Right.
And they have their list of things that they need for themselves and for their children. And typically it's a single parent household. And the things that they need, pillows, bedding, not towels, shoes, not toys for the kids. And the kids can, and they have so many children. This year that my family has 6 children, and just a mother at the head of the household. And that may be the tip of the iceberg, because some of the families don't come forward and sign up. But Moore County is a giving community. There's so much competition.
That's true.
There's so many worthy charities, and it's hard to sometimes raise above the noise so that you can make an impact and people can hear you. I really would like to get you to confirm to come back so we can talk more in depth, because one of the pieces of information he gave me were the misperceptions about homeless people that people have and the things that they need the most. And it was an education just reading through all of it. So let's set that up and do that. And you, young lady, I have to figure out a way to get you to come on, and if I can talk you into co-hosting a show with me.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Would you do that?
Yeah, that'd be so fun.
So here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like you to think about something that's near and dear to your heart.
Okay.
Something that is for the public good. And I will give you the mic. I'll be your co-pilot, but it can be your show.
Oh, goodness.
If you want to do that. So you think about
Okay.
how you want to spend that time, because it would be time well spent.
Okay.
All right?
Yes, sir.
Great to see you.
It's wonderful to see you as well.
Now, we have, just before we sign off here, our Halloween open house cookout is coming October the 28th.
That's
So
Wednesday.
Saturday, it's a Saturday,
Oh,
October
I'm
the
sorry.
28th.
Yep.
Where we do cookouts once a month, open house, to invite everybody to come out, have a hot dog, see what we do, hear about the transitional plans, see what our our operation business is, and the items we give out. We're transitioning into winter clothing now, so we're in the process of doing that. We need more volunteers. But October the 28th, from 12 to 2 p.m., we'll be cooking hot dogs. Come dressed in your...
And where will this be?
This will be at 152 South Stevens, Stephens Street, which is in Southern Pines, and it's right behind the BP station on Pennsylvania, right below the Coalition stores.
I know exactly where you are.
Yeah, we rent from the Trinity Church, so we're
Yeah,
underneath
AME.
we rent from Trinity AME. We're underneath the fellowship hall. It used to be the Boys and Girls Club there.
That's right.
And so we've repainted and done a lot of work there, and we've got it set up. We've got a conference room where we hold meetings, and we got our camping room with the camping gear. We need new camping gear. We're out of tents and sleeping bags, winter stuff that we need, heaters, propane,
Okay.
a list of those things. And we're also preparing for our 5th Christmas meal event.
We'll talk.
So we need those too.
We'll talk about that in a few weeks, hopefully. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Pleasure to see you.
Thank
again.
you, sir. Thank you so much.
This is All Things Moore County. Have a good week. Thank you.